YouTube, and welcome back to your old Flads. This is a pretty rare vlog, and something equally rare happened this weekend. I scored a goal in football, and that doesn't happen too often anymore. I'm getting a little bit old for football, although I'm only 28, but I think the main reason is the fact that I'm carrying a little bit of extra timber nowadays. I do like to go to Greg's at lunchtime. Never mind. Today's little vlog thing, I was going to put some gameplay out, but I don't play Call of Duty, and it's relevant to Call of Duty, so I don't really like mixing the whole thing. I just don't do it. But the question today, which I'm going to ask you in a minute, does relate to the World Championships that were this weekend. Now, if you didn't watch the World Championships, you missed out on some fantastic viewing. And I don't really play Call of Duty anymore because I think it's boring and it's becoming quite slow, whereas it should be a bit more arcadey and fast, and it just isn't anymore. And I have first-hand experience of playing Ghosts, so it's not like I'm just knocking it for the sake of it. I have played Ghosts and didn't really like it. So that's just my decision. However, once the professionals got involved this weekend, boy, did it get insanely good. And between like the skill of the players and the camera work and the casting done by MLG, which was just fantastic. They put on a stellar performance. The stream went down a few times, but apart from that, they put on a fantastic display and some fantastic sort of viewing as well across their 4 channels. I think this probably could have been achieved through any Call of Duty as well. So it's not specific to Ghosts, although Blitz did have quite a turning point, and I'm going to talk about that now because aside from the Australian guys, that sort of the Trident team, which sort of just came out of nowhere and played the most unorthodox search and destroy you've ever seen, Envy versus Optic. Now, well, I've got a bit of a thing about Optic because I think they're really bad winners, and I think that's an incredibly ugly trait in anyone. But during the Envy versus Optic Blitz specifically, there was a very close game that actually went to a tie, and then after that tie you had to replay the map, and it was at this point that Optic, they almost threw away the championship, and that's really what the question is. Did Optic throw away the championship? In my opinion, it was theirs to win, and they were looking so strong. Scump was playing well. Nade shot in Blitz was fantastic. You had Embos was doing really well, sort of in a weird position, because usually he played the goalkeeper, but they actually had Clay back there, which was a little bit strange, but it worked. And this is the thing, they changed tactics, and it sort of revolved around this whole hyping themselves up thing that has become this, I don't know, it's like people want to see it, and it had a negative impact in my opinion. I honestly think that all this shouting and nonsense and sort of getting yourself really pumped up that people like Clay and Scump do, I think it was detrimental, and I think that they really should by now have learned to have an element of control in the really important games, and they didn't. They went ballistic. They started really like firing each other up, shouting, screaming, and they went through this first Blitz game, and then they drew it, and I think they thought they'd won, and then they went into the second map, and it was almost like they'd blown themselves out. And I said this to Tilfish Nemo. I was like, it was almost like they ran out of adrenaline. Like they'd gone so far over the top with their trying to pump each other up that they just lost it. And then in the final round, they completely just fell to bits, which was a real shame because, like I say, I think Optic probably should have won that World Championships. As good as Complexity were, and as good as Envy were, I felt Optic were really strong. And like I say, I'm not really keen on Optic because I think they're bad winners. And that's a really ugly trait in anyone, being a bad winner. So the question, I suppose, is, did Optic throw away the World Championships? And does this sort of attitude towards being this leery, thuggish type creature during Call of Duty, does it actually lead to the downfall of your gameplay? Do you play better when you're hyped up? Have you ever found that you overhype yourself when you're playing these sort of arcade games? Because that's exactly how I saw it. And then when you see teams like Envy and Cole, they were very measured, very calm. Aches talks bollocks. Okay, everyone knows that, but they were very measured and they were very calm, and I think that is what won them complexity ultimately, the whole championship, and I think it's what lost Optic their entire chance for a chance to be taken seriously, because they're famous, but I think everyone sees them as a bit of like this circus, I think is the best way of describing it, and I think they blew their own chance of really dominating the esport again. So let me know your comments, let me know your thoughts. If you didn't watch it, I really suggest going back and seeing it, because it was fantastic. I mean, it was brilliant viewing. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I've been Flads, and I shall see you next time. Cheers and goodbye.